Hello, everyone. My name is Mary Ellen Burns from San Antonio, Texas, and I'm going to address the question about whether or not the role of the program officer and grant monitor is important. And our answer is it is absolutely critical. You know, these grants that we're all working on together, and it is a partnership, have an innovation factor, and that we're in search for a solution to a problem that has existed for some time and likely a complex problem. We're in search actually of new solutions and solutions that can yield a different future. So it takes a real partnership that you and we develop so that we can learn as we grow. As you know, when we submit our grant proposals, there are a number of unknown variables because we're in new territory, right? We're testing out new waters. And so as those new variables become known or the unknown become known, sometimes they produce different outcomes than we expected, and we have a problem. We actually may even have a failure of a particular aspect of our work. Well, the critical thing about the relationship between the grantee and the program officer and grant monitor is there has to be trust, there has to be transparency, there has to be this environment where you can really dialogue about what's happening and be willing to fail in front of your officer so that he or monitor so that he or she can help you problem solve. They have a much bigger toolkit to tap into. They have a greater perspective, and you as federal representatives are really actually in pursuit of the solution that will work. So you know that it's not all going to work along the way, but you got to give your grantees the confidence that it's okay to trip, that you pick yourself up, you learn from the mistake, and you adjust. Course correct, improve, and go on. And if that works well together, which it does when there's that great partnership, everybody's accountable, everybody learns, and we have a shot at reaching that North Star together.
I'm Judy Ratliff. I'm the Director of Operations for Eastside Promise Neighborhood, San Antonio United Way of San Antonio and Bexar County. The program officer has the ability to see things from a larger lens than those in the community-based work can. They can help establish linkages for the program participants and the leaders of the program because they understand the connections that are available through other departments and through other programs. They help set that North Star without being tied to all the legalities of the request for proposal. They know flexibility, and they can help those programs determine creative ways to be flexible in their programming to create a greater impact. They keep the North Star before us, but help us understand that there are other stars in the constellation that also shed light on the program, and it expands the influence of the individual program on the ground to really impact for a longer time.
I'm Henrietta Munoz with the United Way here in San Antonio and Bexar County, and my role here at United Way is the Vice President of Grant Research and Evaluation. Some specific ways that grant monitors and liaisons support us. I think one big tangible way that they support us is lifting our work up to a national level. So you probably have heard from my colleagues that describe the grant monitor, our liaison, from multiple grants that we have that have provided support in different ways with flexibility, with sharing the vision and North Star, so to speak, of where the grant should be or it should be headed. I also think part of what they do is in providing support is actually lifting up the work in a national level, to a national level. So at times when we are actually implementing programs, implementing the funding and building proof points of the work to be able to move it up to a national level, write about it, talk about it, I think is really helpful to not only spotlight the work that we're doing, but also to learn from the work that we're doing. Building learning labs, community of practices, I think are really important, and I think that the liaison from any federal agency, but certainly the Department of Ed and private funding and all the liaisons that we work with thus far have been able to lift up that particular work. They've also been able to encourage accountability. So they hold a stick of accountability not only for the grantee, but also for the collaborative. So if the grant requires collaboration, then the collaboration can rely back on the liaison or grant monitor to uphold that accountability. Ultimately, to be able to tell us, or for us to be able to say to the collaboration, this particular funder expects us to collaborate and expects us to have a set of deliverables that require collaboration and integration. And so that accountability can lie, we can make it lie back on the funder. And so I think that those two things are really important to uphold and that they provide support.
Again, our answer is absolutely. This is new work, and it's beyond the capacity of any one entity or institution or sector to address alone. And so cross-agency work is absolutely essential. And so when it happens, when you're doing that at the federal level, while we're experiencing at the local level, we are both learning at the same time in parallel ways, and can also help each other through those struggles. It's not just the communication, it's the nuance of new work and new lines and new policies and blending and accountability structures and all the complexity that you enter into when you are collaborating with another organization that has its own set of rules. I think it's fair to say that we are all very committed to being loyal stewards of our organizations and administering the policies with fidelity. But then when you get into this new work and you're no longer operating in your lane, but in a collective lane, the rules become a little fuzzy. And so we really lean on our federal partners to help us navigate those new rules. And if they're experiencing locally what we're experiencing locally, it's not a leap, it's not a big learning curve, and in fact, sometimes you can head us off at the pass about what you know might be coming down the line. The other very interesting thing is I've been on calls with multiple federal partners, with our local partners, and we've been able to problem solve small issues of interpretation. For instance, again, a partner trying to be a good partner, a good steward, in this one instance was interpreting their grant as only serving a particular subset of the population and that nobody else could benefit from it, nobody else could participate. We got on the call because that particular event was something that was of great need in the neighborhood, and so when we got on the call, the liaison to that particular agency said, well, no, it may be how that was written, but of course everybody in the neighborhood can attend and participate and gain from that experience. So again, it's not about people being difficult or holding on to their pieces of the puzzle. They don't know where they can share, where they can leverage, where they can change the rules, and what new rules are needed to do the new work. So by you working that new road, paving that new road in the federal space, while we're paving a new road locally, the road gets completed a lot quicker.
So I would say about those questions, these last few questions, I would say absolutely it's imperative for not only the Department of Ed, but I would encourage anyone else that is a part of another department also work across their department units, their departments within a department, and also across federal agencies. I think it's important that if you ask local sites, local entities like ours here in San Antonio to actually build the collaboration, implement the collaboration, and sort of walk the talk, I would encourage that the funders as well do the same. I imagine that it's very difficult for really large systems like the federal agencies that live in DC to do that level of collaboration, but it is, I think, important to show the modeling and to be a model. And so to be able to do that and see what the challenges might be in sharing data, in being able to share communication, share staff, I think is really important to experience that at that level as is expected to be experienced at the level of actual implementation, site implementation. It also, I think, provides some level of empathy at the federal level, to know and to experience what it's like to work across departments and work across agencies. And that empathy hopefully will translate back down to the actual sites.
I would say it is not only important, it is non-negotiable for a program officer to not only understand all of the other programs in ed and in the other departments in DC, but to be able to intersect them for the good of the community-based programs. They understand how they cross-reference. That cross-sector approach serves as a model for those grants who are based on collaboration and based on networking and based on bringing the community that is disjointed and siloed together into one cohesive unit to better serve that community. What better way to demonstrate to the program folks how to do that than to model it by the leadership from the program officer.